Well, we are so thrilled and honored to be here and to represent one of the nights of music at such an incredible event like this. And just want to thank you folks, thank the church for coming out. I grew up in Greenville, Texas, and my cousin, he ropes calves like crazy, and he's a fireman. And I told him I was coming to do the event, and I was a little nervous because, man, I'm not a country act. And he was like, man, cowboys and Christians are the same, don't worry about it. I was like, oh yeah. We were really excited about being here. And this next song is probably the reason I'm excited about being here, because we didn't just come to entertain you folks. We hope you're entertained, but man, you know, that wouldn't be enough for us to leave our house and leave our families. But we believe that our lives have completely been changed by Jesus Christ. And that certainly is probably the only reason it's worth coming together. This next song was written for my daughters. I have 4 kids. I have my oldest is my son Sam. He's 9. I have a little girl named Gracie that's 6. I have a little boy named Charlie who's 4, and I have a little girl named Sophie that's 2. And as if that's not insane enough, we're having our 5th in March, like on a month. We finally figured out how that happens, and we also want a reality show on the Discovery Channel, so we're trying to get the numbers way up there. But it's a little boy, his name is Miles, and yeah, we're excited, man. We call it the circus, we don't want to leave. You know, I love my kids, and I've learned a few things. For example, I'll pass some of my parenting wisdom to you, but I've learned that there's a pretty big difference between boys and girls. I don't know if you knew that, but there is. Like if I upset my boys, it takes them about 3 seconds to get over it. It's as if nothing ever happened. You know, you give them Mountain Dew and they're like happy, right? Boys are like a notch above pets. You feed them and they're pretty much fine. And I'm very grateful for that. My daughters, on the other hand, there's about a 7-day waiting period if I upset them. Yeah. And apparently you can relate to that. So my wife says it doesn't get any easier, it just takes longer when they get older. But you know, there's something special between a father and his daughters. And I love my kids so much, I love my family so much. But there's something unique with my relationship with my girls. I'm very protective, you know, and I'm kind of scared because I believe that our ladies are pressured in ways that we guys can't understand as far as the world's concerned. You know, girls face the pressures of how to look and act and what to wear and what size to be, what to eat and not eat. So much so that some girls will lose their lives trying to keep up. And maybe because I have girls, it's on my radar right now and it freaks me out a little bit. Because, you know, my 6-year-old Gracie, I can see her seeing stuff on TV and she's like, oh, I have to have that. Everybody I know has one of those. And I'm like, you're 6, you know like 8 people, and I'll call every one of them. To the bottom of this. But man, I'm a little freaked out now. What happens when she's a teenager, right? And that's when the sinister laugh comes from you guys. But I'm a little nervous, you know, and probably the best advice I was ever given is to never let them question if they're loved. And never let them question if God cares about them. And you know, there's probably a lot of us here, including myself, we didn't grow up that way. And we'll spend a lot of time and effort trying to figure out where we fit in and who cares about us. And just figure out where our place is. And I don't want my kids to go through that. I tell them they're perfect every day and that God has a plan for them. So much so if I called them right now, they'd be like, we know we're perfect. It's like I'm creating a monster, but it seems like a good idea at the time. But, you know, and some of you are like, is this a parenting class? I came to see rodeo or whatever, but there's a point, I promise. What I figured out, I wrote this song just basically reminding them that they're beautiful in the eyes of Christ. And that God certainly has a plan for them. And when I finished the song, I realized this message applies to every single one of us, whether you're a 6-year-old girl or a 90-year-old man, because we've all had those moments in our life when we felt unlovable. or unworthy or not enough. Most of us will never forget the first time we ever got our heart broken. And some of us, because we got our heart broken, will go to great lengths to make sure that never happens again the rest of our lives. And we shut the world out. And so, you know, I'm not trying to shove a Bible down your throat, but if everything goes through one ear and out the other tonight, just remember this, that there is a very big God who threw the stars to the night. There's a God that is so huge that He and only He tells the sun when to shine. And this is the craziest news of all. For some reason, He is madly in love with us. He's crazy about you. He's not just in love with your potential or what you may become one day, but He loves you right where you are. And He loves you enough not to leave you there. And so it's just a reminder that for some of us, man, I don't know your story, but I know that some of you, whatever you see in the mirror, it doesn't define you. Your relationship with Christ does. Whatever your relationship, whether it's successful or failed, says about you, you're beautiful in the eyes of Christ. Whatever your job says about you, whatever your reputation is, you're beautiful in the eyes of Christ. And He makes much of you so that we can in return make much of Him. And so there's probably some of you that's heartbroken tonight because you feel like you're not enough. And that you spend most of your life trying to fill this void with everything else you can get your hands on. And it's like a square peg in a round hole. The reason we have that hunger to be a part of something bigger is because God put it in us. It's the Creator calling the created. And the only thing that'll satisfy and fulfill us and bring us meaning and joy is Christ. And it may sound like a Sunday school answer, but maybe they're onto something, right? And so this song is just a reminder to everybody here that no matter what you're going through, if you are His, then you're beautiful.